Welcome to Gorilla Sports Off Court, a post-game live reaction show. I am your host for tonight, Liv Moods, following the Utah Jazz, Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets got a win, and we're going to break it all down in just a minute. And this is presented by Trusted American Mortgage. Trusted American salary-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments. So head to trustedamerican.com to see how they can help you save some money today.
Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome in, everybody, to another post-game live reaction show. I am your host for tonight, Liv Moods. Please do not mind the glazed donut face tonight. Believe it or not, it is a Friday night. A lot of my friends out and about, out on the town. Guess what? The Denver Nuggets play. I wanted to watch them play because every game matters right now for this Denver Nuggets team. All that to say, the reason I look like a glazed donut is because I did my skincare routine, my nighttime skincare. And if you're not looking like a glazed donut before bed, I don't know what you're doing. But of course, got in my comfies for the night, did my skincare, and got to watch the Denver Nuggets get a pretty convincing win against the Utah Jazz. And I get it. It's just the Utah Jazz. But like I started the show by saying, every game matters right now for this Denver Nuggets team. And not for the reason that you think, okay? The Memphis Grizzlies right now going through it. Just fired their head coach, Taylor Jenkins, about less than 10 games left in their season. He's gone. There's clearly some trouble in paradise over there. They're a young squad, a lot of talent on that team, but not feeling super convinced that they can make a deep playoff run or be a super large threat, given there's clearly some culture and some locker room issues over there. You've got OKC, of course, number one seed. We know that they are very convincingly at the top of the West. The Houston Rockets are a team that are very, very hot right now. Then you've got the Denver Nuggets and the Grizzlies and the Lakers. And we know the Lakers also bring a lot of excitement and could be a threat to the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference. So I'm not saying that every game matters right now because I care a ton about the seeding and how this Nuggets team ends up by the end of the year and, who they're matching up with in the playoffs. I have said it once. I will say it again and again and again. The seeding does matter. Yes. Matchups, of course, matter. Do I want to see the Minnesota Timberwolves? Absolutely not. Would I want to see OKC in the first round? Absolutely not. There are, of course, teams I would rather see in the first round than others. That is a given. The reason I talk about the games mattering, but not for the reason that you think, is because we have not seen this starting five healthy and playing together on a very consistent basis this season. We've had different versions of this starting five lineup all season long. So it's really important right now. And I talked about this on my show yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was Thursday. My head is in the clouds. Talked about it on my show yesterday in terms of the continuity of the starting five and why that's so important right now. And it really has a lot to do with the fact that we haven't seen this starting five healthy. So while all these other teams across the league have had the year to really find their chemistry, find their footing, figure out what works within their starting five and what doesn't, and what does the starting five bring that you then need the second unit to be supplemental for, right? Like, what are the starting five's weaknesses so that then that second unit knows how to play and can kind of fill in the gaps. It's been very interesting, the dynamic of this Denver Nuggets team this season, because the starting five has looked different a lot. And so you've had guys that are in the second unit that will probably be in the second unit and won't play a ton of minutes in the playoffs that were starting at one point in the season, right? You've got Peyton Watson, who in the playoffs last year, we didn't see much of at all. And he actually became a starter this season because Aaron Gordon was out for so long. We're seeing a lot of talent in that second unit. And of course, I know a convincing win like this to a lot of teams doesn't mean a whole lot because of who it is up against. This Utah Jazz team is one of the worst in the league. You could argue that maybe they're tanking in hopes of getting Cooper Flagg. I think there's probably a lot of teams that would love to get Cooper Flagg based on how their seasons went this year. So I went into this thinking that the Utah Jazz were not going to be giving it their all in the same way that the Denver Nuggets would, but do find it really, really important to see some of the chemistry and the dynamic unfold. Unfortunately, for this Nuggets team tonight, we still didn't get that starting five that we're hoping to see in the playoffs, and that just proves my point. We have not seen it happen a lot. And so anytime you can get your starters that you know you're going to want in the playoffs playing and winning and figuring out how to win together, not just as individuals, right? We know this Nuggets team is stacked with talent. The roster is full of talent. And you know that on any given night, any of the guys on the Denver Nuggets can step up and be a winner, right? In their own way. But winning as a team is what really, really matters right now for this Denver Nuggets team. And so very, very crucial that every game they play is treated like an important and valuable and like do or die game, because you want to start to see that grit in these guys. You want to start to see that next up, next man up mentality, that do or die, that back against the wall. Because guess what? Here in just a little bit, I'm looking at my invisible watch. Here in just a little bit, it is going to be backs against the wall. That's what the playoffs are. You've got 7 opportunities to compete, but we saw what happened. Game 7 against the Timberwolves, when their backs were quite literally against the wall, they fell short. So you want to start to see that grit and that competitiveness and that drive from these guys right now. So regardless of who they're playing, the Rockets, the Grizzlies, the Utah Jazz, the OKC, the Timberwolves, I don't care. I want to see them play tough and I want to see them play hard. Aaron Gordon, not a super impressive offensive night for him. I think he's getting really frustrated with the foul calls at times. We know that he was in early foul trouble in the last game that he played, and I think naturally that does kind of screw with your confidence a little bit, because we know the style that Aaron Gordon plays with. We know he's very physical. We know he's very, very strong and tough. And so I feel like the whistle just kind of like, it puts a damper on the style of play that Aaron Gordon has that he's really, really good at. 6.55 for him tonight. So a pretty complete stat line. And of course, that's what you want to see. If you're not going to score a lot of points, that's fine. But at least make an impact elsewhere. We know Aaron Gordon brings that a lot. I want to keep gassing this man up so that we keep getting what we're getting over the last couple of games. Michael Porter Jr., 20 points tonight, but more impressively, 4 of 7 from the field. I think a week or two ago, I had talked about the fact that the Denver Nuggets, when they score 15 or more 3-pointers in a game, at that time when I brought up that statistic, they were 15-5. So when they get their threes to fall, it does make a difference. Why? Because they're one of the best teams in transition, in the paint. But then when you add that extra layer of that 3-point shooting that every other team is living and dying by, it does make a huge difference for this Nuggets team. So MPJ, 4 of 7 from the 3-point line, 24-4. Of course, you'd love to see more boards from him. But when Jokic has 14, is there a huge demand for Michael Porter Jr. to get rebounds? Not as much when you've got Nikola Jokic with 27, 14, and 6. Okay, so he did not get a triple-double, but I think you did see what he did just before halftime. I'm talking opposing 3-point line off a Euro step, flicked it like it was just, the way I throw a ball of paper into the trash can, okay? That's how seamless and effortless. I'm not saying that when I shoot paper into a trash can, it's seamless and effortless. No, most of the time I miss. But I'm talking just the way that he just kind of tossed it up there at the buzzer just before halftime. And to no surprise, it absolutely went right through the net. I mean, this man is kind of unreal. I'm getting to the point now where screw MVP. That doesn't even, MVP is not enough for Nikola Jokic. MVP is not enough to truly represent how unreal this man is. He does things on a nightly basis that are all time. He makes all time plays nightly. It is just like a routine for him. So MVP, shmMVP. I don't really care anymore. I don't care. I know what they're doing on the back end of this little business operation they're running here. Everybody wants SGA. Fine, have him. I don't see SGA making shots like that. So cool. Go ahead. All that to say, Nikola Jokic, unbelievable. At this point, he doesn't even seem real. He is phenomenal. 27, 14, 6 for him, but in the most impressive you can't even really accurately put it in the stat line. His 1 3-pointer, I guess I'll say, was on the opposing 3-point line. Are you kidding? I mean, how am I going to tell my children about this man? What words can we use? Because unreal doesn't really even feel like it scratches the surface with this guy. He is phenomenal. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. If you're still fighting that, I fear there's nothing I can say to you at this point. If you still don't see what we all see, stop watching basketball. You don't deserve it. Okay, Christian Brown. Yes, 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 yes. 16, 4, and 2. We know what CB brings to the table. Constantly hustling, constantly doing his job. Have to give a shout out as well. Can't believe I skimmed past this. And I cannot believe the chat did not clock me on this. Chat, where are you? You guys are awfully quiet tonight. Get in here and start holding me accountable. Michael Porter Jr., in addition to being 4 of 7 from the 3-point line, which I just talked about being very valuable to this team, when the Nuggets shoot the 3 well, they're pretty much unstoppable offensively. 24 and 4 for him. He also had 4 blocks tonight. Now, that's the kind of stuff we like to see from MPJ. Use your size. You're a big guy. You're a big guy. That's your advantage. Tap into that, okay? 4 blocks from him. And you know what? I don't care that it's against the Utah Jazz. I don't care that we had 13 blocks against the Utah Jazz. I don't care, because right now what this Nuggets team needs is just confidence boosters, especially Michael Porter Jr. And that's exactly what plays like that, nights like tonight, 4 blocks. That's what that does for Michael Porter Jr. And we need that as we start getting closer and closer to the playoffs. Okay. Peyton Watson got some starting minutes. I'm sorry. Forgive me. If you don't like Peyton Watson, if you're not a fan of Peyton Watson, you're a weirdo. I don't know how you don't like him. I love the way he plays. He plays tough. He plays hard. He kind of comes out of nowhere. One of his blocks that he had, which was so clean, it was like he was Superman. I did not see him. And then all of a sudden he's like soaring through the air to make a play. And that's what he does. Even when he messes up, if he doesn't make a 3, misses a free throw, he's hustling back to the other side of the court to make an impact. That is constantly his goal. I do think him having a close relationship with Russell Westbrook, it's good for him because he's already got that in him, where he just constantly plays tough and plays hard every single night. Doesn't matter what the score is, doesn't matter who they're playing against. He constantly brings it to the table. So I think having that relationship with Russell Westbrook helps, because that's also what Russ does on a very consistent basis. So things you love to see. Greatly, greatly appreciate Russ. Just his selfless nature, I think, is making his chemistry within the Denver Nuggets locker room and just in their play style very seamless, because you don't always see that, right? You don't always see a superstar and an MVP hop into a new team, into a new culture, playing with new guys, and it just works right away. And we've seen it in so many ways work right away with Russell Westbrook. And I think so much of that is a credit to his selfless style of play. He's coming off the bench. He's still getting 24 minutes, but he's coming off the bench. He's still giving you 17 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 of 3 from the 3-point line. But hello, hello, hello. I like this. 3 steals for Russell Westbrook tonight. I complimented him last game for the limited turnovers. Tonight, he was back up at 6. Those will just be costly in the playoffs. I know they will. They'd be costly from anyone. Jokic, MPJ, Jamal, you name it. I mean, those are going to make a difference. So, of course, would love to see the turnovers tightening up just a little bit as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. But I do want to say, I do think it's important to mention that so much of turnovers is a miscommunication. Not always, but a lot of times it's a miscommunication. It is hard, not hard. It feels wrong to expect this team to just be communicating super sharply and super concisely and super precisely right now at this point in the season, when they're playing with different guys every night. The starting 5 looks different every night. Russ is a starter one night, he's not the next. Naturally, there's going to be a little miscommunication when you have to constantly evolve your starting 5 due to injuries and what have you. So I do think it's important to mention that I think turnovers a lot of the time are just miscommunications. And I think it's fair in so many ways that the Nuggets are having miscommunications at this stage in the season, because unlike other teams that are at the top of the West, this Nuggets team has battled injuries throughout their roster all season long. So I think it's just good to kind of check ourselves sometimes and remind ourselves that the miscommunications are pretty expected when you've had so many different versions of the starting five and all that good stuff. So yes. I'm going to get some of these comments up. We'll keep talking about the players, the game, and all of that. Good job, but I'm still not impressed. Listen, very fair. I think very warranted given who they played against. But I do think in moments like this, I look at this roster. I look at the ceiling for all of these players on the Denver Nuggets. They are good AF. The Nuggets are a good basketball team. When you are getting the best out of every play, and you can't say that for every team in the NBA. I understand this is the highest level of basketball, right? So you expect every player in the NBA at their best to be able to win a championship. If every player on the roster is playing their best, you'd expect a championship. You can't say that for every team. When it comes to the Denver Nuggets, you absolutely can say that. When they are all playing their best basketball, they are kind of unstoppable in a lot of ways, okay? I am choosing to believe right now that so much of the highs and the lows that we saw from this Nuggets team was strategic. They're pacing themselves. They're trying to keep their bodies healthy, because that is part of winning a championship. A lot of things have to go right. Yes, you're talented. That is a huge part of it. But you're also healthy, and you're also rejuvenated. You've got some energy to you. And if you watched the playoffs last year with this Denver Nuggets team, you would know their energy was lacking just a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of bit. They were exhausted. They were fatigued. They were tired. No excuse. I was still pissed, but they were tired. So I do think a lot of what we've seen from them this season, the ups and the downs and everything in between, is strategic. I think this is what I think the Denver Nuggets edge is right now is they're exceptionally intelligent. I think they have two of some of the smartest basketball players on their team in Russell Westbrook and Nikola Jokic. And before the Russ slander begins, you don't just happen upon an MVP and multiple all-star appearances. You just don't happen upon that. That happens because of who you are and how you play. Russell Westbrook is a good effing basketball player, and he has been for a long effing time. Okay, haters? So you can just shove that. Let me relax. All that to say, they have two very, very smart players that I think are really great leaders for this team. So I am choosing to believe that as the playoffs get closer and closer and closer, in a do or die situation, this Nuggets team will know how to fire it up. They'll know how to turn it on. Okay, I'm choosing to believe that. So while, yes, this particular win may not be impressive because of who they were up against, we're seeing them just get into a rhythm. They got to get into a rhythm, a winning rhythm. However that is, whoever it's against, a winning rhythm needs to be established at this point in the season. Has to be, okay? So in so many ways, yeah, this wasn't super impressive. I am with you on that. But every win matters right now for this team, not from a seeding perspective, but from the perspective of them establishing that chemistry, building that continuity, and just finding that grit and that firepower. That's what they need. Okay. You tell me who the MVP is. If you say other than Jokic, you are biased. I mean, it is Jokic. Call me biased if you want. I think the proof is in the pudding. That's the most beautiful thing about this. I can say with my chest, I can say Nikola Jokic is the MVP. And guess what? The numbers are there. I don't even look like a crazy person. I don't even look like a homer. The numbers are there, folks. Okay. And I had somebody tweet at me this morning and say, SGA is, and then put OKC's record. No, sorry. That's OKC's record. Cool. So let's not do that. All right. Let's not do that. Because if OKC started to fall off the wagon towards the end of the season, guess what? You likely would not be holding a losing streak by OKC as a team against SGA in his chances at MVP. So let's simmer down on that. Jokic is the MVP. I'm not a homer. I'm not biased. Why? Because the numbers are there. I'm being backed up like science, folks, okay? Cause and effect. What do you want from me? Okay? Sorry, but it's just the truth. So you can be mad about it, but I can go ahead and just pull up the numbers. Not only could I pull up his numbers versus SGA's, which will make most SGA fans weep, I could also pull up the numbers from the last time that he won MVP. In every category, he's better. We're going to look back at this year when they crown SGA as MVP, which I don't agree with, but they're going to do it. When they crown SGA as MVP, we're going to look back at this particular season and go, what a joke. What a flipping joke. We're going to be watching highlight reels from Nikola Jokic in the 2024-2025 season, and we're going to go, what a joke. This man was not the MVP. Please point me in the direction of the man who was instead. And then then what are we going to see? Free throw merchant. Cool. All right. So I don't care. I'm done. You know what? I will not get in another argument with a faceless wonder on X who has SGA as their profile picture, okay, about who should be MVP. Save it. Quit wasting your thumb energy. I don't want to hear it. I'm done. Shut it down, okay? Because the numbers are there. I'm not arguing with you. The same way I don't fight science. That is backed. That is proven. I'm not fighting with those people. Scientists are some of the smartest people on the planet. What do I look like fighting with them on something that they proved with facts? I'm not going to do it. The same way I'm not going to fight with people who can't clearly see that Nikola Jokic is the MVP. I'm not fighting with you. I don't have time to fight with people that are not as bright as I. No, I'm kidding. I'm not saying that every person that thinks SGA should not or should win MVP is not bright, but I am questioning your judgment just a smidge. That's all I'm saying. I would not want you as my emergency contact. That's all I'm saying. Okay, moving on. Liv Moods ranting yet again in the wee hours of the night. What do you want from me? This is what we do around here, folks, okay? I can't help myself. I have no self-control. Zero. None. Zip. Zero self-control. Let's get to a couple other comments here. The chat is quiet tonight, which is fine. I think we're tired. It's also a Friday. I don't expect many people to be like in the bar right now at the club, tuning into Liv Mood's post-game live show. If you are, please screenshot that because that is so legit. If I ever saw someone in a club with an AirPod in watching my show, I would have no choice but to like have a coffee with this person. Seriously. Live rant moods. It's true. It's true. What can I say? What can I say, David? What can I say? Yeah, I do love a good ranting session. I think it's good for the soul. I think every basketball fan should have a safe space to just get it out on the table, you know? Just rant a little, get your feelings out there and have no judgment in doing that. And that's what this show is all about. How about that? Yeah, let's talk about it. You know what? Peyton Watson. Well, first of all, quite a few dunks in this game. I was liking that. That excites me, okay? Because I like it when they play tough like that. When they play big and strong and beast mode, and then they all celebrate and their like arms are flailing out like this, and they've got veins bulging out of their neck. Like, okay, yeah, let's get more of that because that means you care. That means you're pumped. That means you're just as amped up for the playoffs as I am. There is no worse feeling than feeling like as a fan, you are more excited about the playoffs than your team is. Oh my gosh, please. I can't do that. Peyton Watson, he has a fan in me. He knows that. You guys know that. I love Peyton Watson. I very rarely have anything negative to say about him. And you know why that is? I'm going to tell you why. When I was coaching high school dance, my dancers, if they were tuning in, they would tell you this is true. I used to always say to them, I don't expect perfection, but I always expect effort. Meaning, if I can tell that you are giving me full effort and you make a mistake, I don't care. But if you make a mistake and I can tell you're not giving it your all, oh yeah, drop and give me 20. I'm pissed. Okay. Peyton Watson is the type of player that is not perfect. He does make mistakes, but he is always giving effort. You will find that I defend players that constantly give effort. Perfect or not, that's just how I roll. Deal with it. No, I'm kidding. But Peyton Watson, windmill dunk. Yeah, the blocks. I mean, DJ out there hooping. Excuse me. DJ and Russ together. What kind of a combination is this? I like it. A lottie. Me likey a lottie. Okay. Love it. So yeah, the dunks were fire. Fire. I was feeling pretty stoked about that. I mean, the dunks, the half court shot by Jokic. I mean, half court. That doesn't even cover it. The full court shot by Jokic. I mean, just incredible. We've had some good basketball as of late. Josh Giddey, can I give a shout out to Josh Giddey? I mean, come on now. Like it's we're really just getting good basketball, and you love to see it because as we get closer to the playoffs, that's what you want. That's what you hope and pray for. Okay. Regardless of how it ends for your team, you just want good basketball for a month or two. Is that too much to ask? I don't think so. As far as I'm concerned, it is not too much to ask. Okay. Seriously. Who's the MVP? Cut it out, G. You already know the answer to that. You already know the answer to that, okay? Seriously. We don't have to go there. We don't have to go there. How about the Serbian heavester? That's who. That's who the MVP is. Thank you very much. Okay. We talked about Russ. We talked about Peyton Watson off the bench. I gave a little shout out to DJ. Okay. He was actually perfect from the field, DJ. And that is like chef's kiss. I want more of that. You know who else was perfect from the field? Zeke Naji. Oh, yeah. Like that a lot. Jalen Pickett did not have the outstanding offensive performance that we're used to seeing by him. He played 20 minutes. He was 0 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3. But he did get a steal in there, you know? So you just want to hope that if you're out there, you're making an impact. That's like my word right now. That's my word of the day. Impact. Did you make an impact? If I were Coach Malone, well, that's kind of hard because even if you like score like 1 point, you're still making an impact. Did you make a reasonable impact? Is that a good way to put it? Different players on the team have different expectations for what their impact looks like. Did you meet the expectations of the impact you should have had tonight? If you didn't, do it again. That's what I meant to say. So, yeah, DJ, love. Okay. Zeke Naji, love. I mean, overall, I get it. It was against the Utah Jazz, but you got to be pretty happy about what you saw tonight. You were getting some offensive production out of your second unit. You were also getting some defensive production out of your second unit. Off the bench, Zeke Naji, 3 blocks and 2 steals. DeAndre Jordan, 2 blocks. Hunter Tyson, 1 block. Peyton Watson, 3 blocks. Michael Porter Jr., 4 blocks. I mean, come on. So, regardless of the opponent, you like what you see. You just want to see good habits being formed by this team. You want to see them continuing to win basketball games. That's it. Because even if you should win basketball games doesn't mean you do. That is the epitome of the Denver Nuggets this season. Just because you should win doesn't mean you do win. We need to see this Nuggets team just winning. Show me you can win. That's what we want. Protect home court. Show me you can win. They're doing those things right now. So me likey what I see. Okay. That being said, they've got some time to rest this weekend. Okay. They do. No game tomorrow night, no game Sunday night, no game Monday night. They do, however, have a game on Tuesday night. Oh no. Here we go again. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, doomsday is near. Not actually. Doomsday is not near, but if you guys have watched the Denver Nuggets, then this does not come as a shock to anybody when I say that, yeah, the Timberwolves, I don't really like them. Not a fan. Don't really like them very much. They are bullies, actually. They're the Nuggets bullies. So, Timberwolves Tuesday. So, this Nuggets team does have now 3 nights of rest. 3 nights of rest. So, you've protected home court now. Okay, except for against the Bulls, which I don't really want to talk about that one because I was at that game. I was quite peeved. Don't want to talk about that one. And I get it. Jokic wasn't playing. But to be honest with you, I don't care that he wasn't playing. I still want to see this team beat the Chicago Bulls. It's just that simple. But the last 2 games, you protected home court. You got to continue doing that against the Timberwolves and the Spurs. We're just getting to that point in the season where every win matters and protecting home court does make a difference. Okay. So it's going to matter. So to the point of the comment earlier saying, I like the win, but I'm still not impressed. I agree with you to a certain extent, right? This was the Utah Jazz. Now copy and paste that against the Timberwolves. Show me you can do the same thing. Show me that our second unit can still produce offensively off the bench against the Timberwolves. Show me you can still get blocks and steals against the Timberwolves. Show me Michael Porter Jr. can still score points, get buckets, right? I got to see that against the Timberwolves. Have to. It's mandatory. It is actually mandatory or I'll freak. Oh my heavens. If we lose to the Timberwolves, I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh my gosh. Just be prepared for that post-game live because I'm telling you right now, if we lose to them, oh, get your popcorn. Hell, I might have a glass of wine in my hand. I'm just saying. Okay? So they got to do it. They got to do it. They got to continue to protect home court, and they've got to compete against competitors. Just saying. So that's what we need. So I agree that, you have all these things. You got to see it happen. I've got my wonderful friend and Guerrilla Sports family member, Jesse Montano, on the back end of the show, helping us out a little bit. And Coach Malone just finished speaking, post-game presser. We want to hear his thoughts. We know he had some strong opinions after the Bulls game. We know he's been feeling better after the last 2 in terms of protecting home court and getting some really great performances out of some of these guys. So let's tap into Coach Malone really quick and figure out what he has to say about tonight's dub against the Utah Jazz. Let's check it out.
When the final buzzer went off. No, obviously, challenge our guys at halftime. We should have been up by more than 10 points at the half. Let them back in to start that second quarter. Too many turnovers in that second quarter. Gave them life. Loved our defense throughout. But I have to say, my favorite moment of the night was pregame. There's a young girl named Gertie who I've gotten to know over the years. And as I came out in the court tonight, she asked me if I'd walk her out to take her a shot. And I was touched that she'd even want me to do that. And to be out there and for her to – I knew we were going to win tonight when Gertie stepped up in front of all those people and she knocked down that shot. That was a special moment for me. And sometimes we all get wrapped up in wins and losses, but that is a human moment. And I love that little girl. She's special. But, yeah, second half, we took care of business. We defended at a high level. We ran. We shared the ball. And a lot of guys got a chance to play tonight. And you couldn't ask for a better outcome going into a three-day break before our next home game.
She didn't make any of her shots in warm-up when she was warming up. She didn't make one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, she's a pressure player then. That's what I have to say about Gertie. And she's special. And when she asked me to walk her out, I said, this girl's got to be so nervous. And then she took – did you guys see her? She took deep breath, got control over her emotions. And that is not easy to do. And she crushed it, man. So happy for her. But I didn't know she missed all of her practice shots. But she's a gamer.
Speaking of shots, the one Joker did before half, can you describe how hard those are and why he doesn't care one bit? He'll attempt them anytime.
I don't know if this still holds true, and maybe you guys know. Somebody told me a few weeks ago that if Nikola Jokic didn't shoot those desperation heaves, he was leading the league in three-point shooting. If you took all those out. And what you love about him is that he doesn't care, right? He's going to shoot the ball because he thinks they're all going in. And I asked him after the game, I said, when it left your hands, did you think it was going in? He says, actually, I did. Like, the way it came out, and we all know this. We've gotten spoiled watching him, but the touch that he has, the shot-making ability that he has is just incredible. And, that put us up by 10 at the half. But yeah, Nikola continues to find ways to impress, which is really hard to do for a player with as many accomplishments as he has.
It felt like Peyton Watson, those back-to-back dubs kind of snapped everybody into it and got the crowd into it and the team as well. Did you feel that moment there with him?
Yeah, I was laughing because he gets a dunk and he lands hard. Like I was like, oh, is he okay? He's kind of jogging back. Oh, I'm hurt. We get the steal, then he sprints. It's amazing how guys miraculously become healthy and they can sprint when, oh, we're on offense now. But Peyton I challenged him. I said, you're going to start tonight. I want you to guard Colin Sexton. You know what I mean? I want you to be a guy that we can put on a matchup and try to make life hell for that player. And Peyton was our defensive player of the game tonight. I felt he did a really nice job for us. He's playing good basketball for us right now, and that's great to see because he's an important piece for this franchise, not just this year, but obviously moving forward.
More impressive, the 13 blocks or the 12 steals?
Both. I mean, obviously the defensive number is 35% from the field, 17% from three, but to have that kind of activity, I don't remember the last time the Nuggets had double-figure blocks and steals in a game. It hasn't happened very often. But, yeah, I think both of those stats, to your point, Scott, just spoke to the energy and activity that we were playing with.
There's a moment third quarter, I think, second half, where Zeke did the second free timeout. Looks like you kind of said something to him. We're happy for him. Just how important is he kind of going into these playoffs to get his confidence up, especially after the DNP against Milwaukee?
Yeah, I mean, like, let's be honest. I think if you go all the way back to the game in Charlotte when we had some injuries, and Zeke was called upon, and he answered in resounding fashion, in my opinion. And obviously, when we're fully healthy, it's hard to play everybody. And really what I was talking to Zeke about wasn't just him knocking down that shot. Is prior to that, he had a tremendous one-on-one defensive possession that forced a turnover, sitting down, guarding, and that's what we want from Zeke. When you're open, shoot the ball with confidence. But on that defensive end, we're going to switch with him quite a bit and sit down and guard and be a rim protector. And Zeke, another guy that had a nice impact for us tonight. 3 blocks and knocks down 2 threes to your point. So good game for Zeke Najee.
Coach, you've got 3 days off now before Minnesota. Most coaches would be really happy with the rest and get to prepare. But the Nuggets have struggled a little bit when having too many days off. Does this concern you at all? What's your level of concern?
Well, my level of concern isn't the rest days. My level of concern is Minnesota. I mean, they've beaten us 3 times this year. Game 1 was a game that we should have won in Minnesota, and the other 2 games haven't been close. So that is my concern with 7 games to go. Can we find a way to get the required rest that we all need, players, and then just find a way to compete and beat the T-Wolves? Because, I'm tired of losing to them. And we have to find a way to help our guys out so we can be more competitive and continue to find ways to protect our home court with 2 home games remaining on this 5-game homestand.
3 years ago when DJ got here, we asked him a lot of questions about his ability to play still, and he said, I'm not dead, and he's having a really
He just plays dead sometimes.
he's having a really great season. What has it been for this team for him to be giving the contributions that he's given this season?
Well, what you have to give TJ so much credit for is that start the year he wasn't in the lineup, and then he was in the lineup, then he was out of the lineup. And, we've kind of gone backup 5 by committee this season. And what DJ gives us, he gives us rim protection. He gives us tremendous rebounding. He gives us a great screener. And as you saw in the first half, when he and Russ connected, a guy that can still, at this late stage of his career, set screens and get on the rim and be a dynamic roller. And those are things that we don't have a lot of. So the rim protection, the dynamic roller, the rebounding are all terrific. On top of that, one thing, as I always talk about when we speak of DeAndre, is his ability to be a leader and help all the young guys that we have on this roster. And you can never say enough good things about the leadership we have with 2 17-year vets in DeAndre and Russell Westbrook.
You talk on your radio show every week on 92.5.
Does anybody listen to that show?
All the time. It's killing
Me, you, and D-Mac listen to it. All right.
special people. When guys like, Spencer
All right.
comes in late, PJ Hall comes in late, you guys, the enthusiasm from guys that
Yeah.
play 30 minutes for guys that are going to be, they might be here for 2 days, they might be here for 1 day, whatever it is. It really, I just think it says something about your guys' chemistry. And I know these guys won't be able to play in the postseason, but
Yeah.
that's special with those guys.
No, I would agree with that, Scott. I think it's a great sentiment. We don't have selfish guys. We don't have me guys. We have we guys, and we always talk about family and being connected, and rooting on somebody and being happy for their success. Get over yourself. It's not about you. It's about our team, the collective. And when you see a Hunter Tyson go in and knock down a shot, you see Trey Alexander go in there and get 5 points. PJ Hall gets a dunk. And you look down and you see everyone on our bench is up. They're supporting each other. They're happy for each other. And that's something I'm really happy that we have within our locker room, within our culture, is that we're all for the guy next to us. And that needs to continue.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, everybody.
Love that. And honestly, I love when we play Coach Malone's. We toss to Coach Malone live in Ball Arena, and he's sharing similar things that we've talked about on the show, just sitting here between you and I. So I love when that happens, because it means that he sees the same things that we as frustrated or excited fans see, of course, and that's always a really great feeling. He talked about a few things that I want to break down, and then I'm going to let you guys go because I know it's late where most of you are, and I appreciate you so much for being here. Peyton Watson, defensive player of the game. I don't think that comes as a shock to many of us still tuning into the show right now. DeAndre Jordan. I have made little jokes throughout this season talking about DeAndre Jordan. And I say it as a joke because I do find it very cute and very funny. But it does just show, I think, what he brings to this team. Is DeAndre Jordan a perfect player? No. He's not. Every time he goes to the free throw line, I'm like, here we go. He's not a perfect player. However, I joke often, if you guys have not been to a Denver Nuggets game, like in person in Ball Arena, where you can like see how these players navigate on the sideline and on the bench and during timeouts and all of that, I make jokes about DeAndre Jordan constantly staying warm. He is running like suicides. He has a resistance band on his knees. He is staying warm the entire game. But more than that, he's encouraging players. Like Coach Malone said, he's up on his feet, celebrating guys. He's giving advice. He's constantly present, even when he doesn't necessarily have to be. Now, of course, you want them to always be present because you never know when it's next man up, right? Especially given how many injuries this Nuggets team has dealt with this season, you never know when it's your turn. But DJ is a 17-year vet, as is Russell Westbrook, that just brings that leadership, that like kind of similarly to what Uncle Jeff brought. And that was why I was so devastated to see him go, is because I do think you need one of those guys in your locker room. So I think it's very special that this Nuggets team has more than one of those guys. I think that makes for a really great dynamic and culture, and the leadership is there. And I do think that that is helpful come playoff time. We talk a lot about players and teams that, while they're really good in the regular season and they're hot and they're at the top of the Western Conference, experience matters in the playoffs. It just does. It really, really does. We see a lot of really talented young teams get knocked out early because they lack experience, and the playoffs is just a different beast. So to have two players, 17 years under their belt, who do play such selfless basketball. And I'm so glad Coach Malone talked about that, because we talked about that before we even heard from him on this show. The selflessness of these players, guys like DJ, guys like Russell Westbrook, even Aaron Gordon earlier in the year was willing to come off the bench if that was what was right for this team. I do think that carries you a long way. So while some of the nitty gritty, fundamental stuff with this Nuggets team has been off this season and has been cause for concern, they do have other things that teams don't have. OKC is young. There's a lack of experience there with OKC. So there are things that give this Nuggets team an advantage outside of just their skill set. And I do think as we get closer to the playoffs, and once we're in the playoffs, those things will make a difference. Having guys like DeAndre Jordan, having guys like Russell Westbrook that have the experience, that are veterans in this league, that does make a difference, and that is super valuable. So there's a lot here with this Denver Nuggets team that is working, that is very important and very valuable. Now it's just refining all of that, putting it all together and refining it. you've got a lot of talent on this team, and a win is a win at the end of the day, right? I usually hate saying that because it's like, no, screw that. Against this team, it should have been a blowout. I'm always looking. I mean, let's be real, glass half empty sometimes for sure, but a win is a win at the end of the day. And right now with this Nuggets team, that couldn't be more true. You just want to see them refining what they've got, because we know that what they've got is enough. It really is. Despite the ebbs and flows, the ups and the downs of this season, there really, really is enough here for them to work with. So it was good to hear from Coach Malone. We've got more post-game pressers that will be live on our YouTube if you want to check those out. Hearing from DeAndre Jordan, the 17-year vet who plays selfless basketball and had himself a night tonight. Peyton Watson, the defensive player of the game, will also be live up on our YouTube. So if you want to hear what they have to say, make sure you are subscribed to the Guerrilla Sports YouTube. And yeah, that does it for this game. Coach Malone said it best. We're sick of losing to the Timberwolves, and that is next up for this Denver Nuggets team. While this was a great win, and they are defending home court relatively well outside of the Bulls game that I don't want to talk about because that was frustrating. They're defending home court well. They're starting to find their rhythm and their continuity, which is great because they haven't had many opportunities to do. They haven't had as many opportunities as other teams to do that this year. So you love seeing them do that. The Timberwolves are next up, and it's going to take everything from everyone to get a win against this team. And I do think if you can beat the Timberwolves at home on Tuesday night after 3 nights of rest, that is just going to be more momentum to the refining process of this team. So it is very, very valuable that this Nuggets team gets a win against the Timberwolves, not just because it is a win, but because it is the Timberwolves, all right? We need that momentum for this Nuggets team. I think it will be very, very good for them. I want to say thank you. There's over 1,000 of you on right now. I know if you're tuning in from YouTube, you're like, no, there's not. In addition to X and YouTube, we've got over 1,000 people tuning in right now. It is very late where most of you are at, so I appreciate more than you know you guys always tuning into these post-game live shows, hanging out with me, venting with me, talking with me, dropping comments. No Jamal Murray tonight. Excited to have him back, hopefully against Minnesota, so that he can cook and he can do what he's been doing as of late, which will be very crucial for the playoff stretch that hopefully the Nuggets go on. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in. I'm Liv Moods. This is another post-game live reaction show. We'll have you covered with an off-court show on Monday, 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time, as well as a post-game show following Tuesday's game against the Timberwolves. Hopefully that's a win, and we have nothing but smiles on our faces. But if not, we will adjust. We will do what we always do and spend some time just getting it off our chests. I appreciate you guys tons. This is presented by Trusted American Mortgage. You can head to trustedamerican.com to see how they can help you save some money, getting you a better interest rate, lowering your monthly payments. Shout out to our friends at Trusted American. I am Liv Moods. I am signing off for the night, but I will see you guys on Monday for a regular off-court show, and then I'll see you again Tuesday night for another post-game live. Thanks for tuning in. Much love. Go Nuggets, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.